welcome back, man. Listen, it's another episode of the Ceaze Today podcast. I have a very unique, special, and loving guest today. My sister, my friend, Leticia is here. Her podcast is amazing. Everything you do is amazing. Everything
Oh,
you do is amazing.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
No
Mm.
problem, no problem. So, this episode, just gonna title it Red Flags. I'm just gonna, we're just gonna call it Red Flags. Okay.
Okay.
So earlier we had a conversation, and it was based on a video that you posted last night on Facebook about your perspective on red flags.
Mhm.
I agree with that perspective, but a lot of people, I feel like it's a controversial topic because so many people, the best way I can explain it, so many people lack the ability to think for themselves. So they follow the standards of society to a T.
Okay.
And if you don't mind, like just share, like kind of like summarize that video and what you were actually bringing to your platform with that information.
Okay. First, let me introduce myself, right? So I am Leticia. My author pen is Leticia G. Many know me as TC. I am or Miss As I Grow. So that is my baby. And I live by it daily. I practice as I grow. I put as I grow in everything I do. So about me, I'm a mom of two amazing boys who actually have a book out called Locks of Love, The Tale of Carter and Chance, and that teaches about diversity and everything because they have locks, right? That's another topic and reason why I started that. Um, but they are amazing. They're amazing. They're unique. But I that idea came from, so I teach my kids a little different. They know not to speak to any adult who addresses them first. And my car is down, so we had to take a lift to a store, right? Which is it's okay. We took a lift to the store, and all of us have locks. And the driver addressed them first, and it's like, "Oh, I like y'all hair. Y'all styling." And they both of them, and my kids are 5 and 9, looked at me like and asked me, "Mommy, can we tell him this is more than a style? Can we tell them?" I'm like, "It's fine to speak to him. We're in his car. That's fine. But thank you, like, oh, well, hi, sir." And they told him exactly what the locks meant to them. It's bigger than a style. It's not a style. This is
That's
our
beautiful.
strength,
That,
So I'm like, I'm listening to this 9 and 5-year-old speak. Even the driver was like, he had the music on, he turned the music all the way down, like, true. When you scratch the record or something, it's how it seemed.
absolutely.
Like,
People aren't used to
like
that.
what?
That's beautiful.
And yeah, and they looked at me like, okay. I didn't never heard it like that before, but that's a little tell on how Locks of Love came about, the actual book. And I'm also uh it's releasing, y'all. It's coming. Grow with Me. The book is a self-help book for everyone. The podcast, of course. And when I speak about mental health, I'm serious about it because I am studying for my second master's in marriage and family therapy. Um, so yeah, that's just I think the ballpoint of it. Like that's like a little summary of me. It's so much more, but yeah, that's that. Very heavy in spirituality, very heavy in that. And forever learning. But yeah, the topic. How did it come about? That's what you asked, right? All
Let me give you one of these real quick.
right. Okay.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Authenticity. That's but it's just like I was saying. Like when you speak, side note, and I just want to give you these roses. Like when you speak with so much authority and confidence, and I love that about you. When you speak, you know that every word is going to be heard, and I love that. I love that.
I guess that's the oil in me.
The
And I
intention
ain't sorry.
behind it
Yeah. That's the
is
oil in me. I'll tell y'all a little bit about Oya. It's an Arusha, right? And just facts. She's tall, dark skinned, and slim. I'm a child of a Shun, but Oya is with me all the time. Right? But yeah, that's the Oya in me, I guess. I do demand the room. I do demand the space, and then I don't even do it intentionally. I guess
it's
that's
just
just
your natural gift.
it's
You demand there's certain people who demand to have their presence not even not even respected but appreciated because our presence means so much when we come in that room. The fact that we are in that room
Yeah,
means that we are meant to be here, so everybody should embrace that.
yeah.
And
Hey, like Nippy said, like Nip said, not Nippy. Nippy is Whitney Houston, but Nips, like Nip said, I stick out like little Yachty them. Like I really do stick out. I'm tall, and they
you
be like,
you got
wow,
it, you got it,
you
sis,
know.
you got it.
And so,
But
yeah,
the like just to, as you said, you do things a bit differently.
I do, I
And
do.
I would say I would lead that into our topic because the viewpoint that you have with red flags, most would say goes against society standards of what a red flag is. And
Yeah,
when I listened to it, I was so it was as if I was right next to you in court. Like, yeah, like that's
yeah,
exactly that's the understanding that people need to
yeah.
have.
Right.
And
So
just
I
elaborate
really
on the foundation
the
of
foundation of it. So this chain I'm rocking is not actually me. This is the person I am deeply connected to. And I forever hold him. He actually thought he lost it. I thought other differently, right? I thought differently. And then when I found it, it was exactly where he said he had placed it last. And then it made the situation even like wow. But my own, like I only speak from experience. I could only do that. I could only speak from experience from what either I went through myself or I witnessed, right? I saw hands on. And then I don't speak right away. I actually dive deep into it. I study it, I guess. I'm a forever student. All of us are. And I think of things, I look at things in a different viewpoint. And that didn't come easy. See, it's like for real, it didn't come easy doing that. Going against the grain did not come easy. And it's still a challenge. It's still a challenge because I see things from a different lens than others, right? Um, so that's what that topic came from because I was having issues inside of my relationship, right? And we decided to do go separate ways in a sense, right? Kind of. And what I love about my this person, like I can't speak anything bad on him. I really can't, and I don't think he would be able to on me as well. And it'd be truth, right? And it's one thing about him, he's the same way, right? Like he goes against the grain and he do things that however, if you're not balanced and you're not balanced, you're not clearly all the way in within, it can really just make you it can drive you crazy. You know what I mean?
you
Like
know
it
I'm
could
just
because yeah, you're going against
uh,
something that's telling you otherwise, right? So
totally easy to fall back into the
it
comfort
is.
of just nobody. It I don't want to say nobody judging, not so much attention. When you go against the grain, you know you draw attention, whether it's positive or negative, but it's there.
It's there. So to circle back what you said before, you said that we are used to going with the flow, right? We so well, yeah, we just know we don't even use our full potential, I guess, our full mind. I have to disagree with you with that one. And the reason why is because we are brought here with our full selves. We have to be trained not to use it. That's why they teach us to use our right hand. They're so quick to teach us how to do that or read a certain way or act a certain. I call it domesticating, just like you do a pet.
A
You know
thousand
what I mean?
agree, 1,000%, because
Yeah.
I speak a lot on the education. We've had our conversations about the
Hmm.
education system, and it's
Absolutely.
just like domesticating a pet. Like if you take an animal, and the thing is, it's through generations. If you
Yeah.
take one animal and domesticate it, and you make sure that they teach their children the same domestication process and instill that in them, later on down the road, like our generation, I look at it, we're the first generation to really start looking at it and say, wait a minute, this isn't, why do I have to be this way? Like for me, I fully understood that after going to prison. because I used to have conversations and people would say, "Do you want equality or do you want freedom?" I've always wanted freedom. Freedom allows me to have a choice in what I become. Equality
Mhm.
means there's no space for any type of growth. Everybody's on the same level. That's not what we're here for. So I
It's funny.
1000%
You
agree
said
with that.
freedom, and that's how I open Grow With Me book with that. Actually, that's the dedication to my boys. It's freedom. I'm not gonna share
Absolutely not.
it. I want y'all to buy the book. I need y'all to buy that book. Like y'all gonna love it. For real, y'all will. Um, but you're absolutely right. So that's modernism, right? It's modernism. So little science is modernism believes like and again, y'all don't think I'm kind of weird, but I am. You know what I mean? So modernism it highlights that science is always accurate, right? So it's a complete explanation for knowledge and understanding on why things the way they are. I don't move on the modernism. We kind of sort of do in a sense, but I really don't move fully on modernism. It's mostly like postmodernism. I'm going
Yeah,
against the game. I need to question the why is what. You know what I mean? Like, nah, like because motives, right? Um, I know what we taught, and the reason why we taught the way we taught is because of motives to control the people,
hmm
um, and a whole bunch of other things, right? But
yeah.
mostly motives, right? So, back to the red flags.
So
Because that
look,
that could go a little deeper than that. The postmodernism. I'm really like,
feel
what the
free to
hell?
go wherever you need to, because we have these conversations outside of the platforms.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So let
I'm
me
right
dig
where
up.
you at.
Yeah. Let me talk about postmodernism before I go into, and so they can get a clear understanding of what I'm saying. That's a scientific name for it. However, the meaning. Let me see. How can I put it? It's like it's like postmodernism. I'm gonna just read what I have. Postmodernism, and it wasn't scripted. It's just some. I write a lot, guys. I write a lot. Postmodernism has taught me the value of interconnectedness and cultural narratives, challenging the absolute truths. What people say is the absolute truth is actually challenging and advocating for like practices for mindfulness or something like that. So that's the sum of that. But the red flags actually thrive from my relationship. Um, once people assumed that we were done or on the verge of being done. People would say his ear, my ear, and red flags this. Oh, you saw the red flags this and red flag this and this and that. And I'm looking like, all right. And then sometimes, you know what? And I know you said this is not scripted, and I'm glad. Um, Sometimes it does take separation to really see a person. You know what I mean? If that
Bruh,
makes
listen,
makes
if I could, the reason I love your relationship story is because, and since I've been in Atlanta, I've only really been in one relationship, but it ties so many. Sometimes I can't explain the push and pull on emotions. Like sometimes even when you don't want to have those emotions, you're kind of forced to realize like that it's still there.
yeah.
And talking to you has helped me so much because even on times where I was in my situations, like really wanting to just say fuck everything, I could call you and hear you speak about the way that you appreciate your relationship and the way that you fight for your relationship. And it would tell me in the back of my mind, we would get off the phone and I would say, hey, if sis can do it, you can wait it out a little bit longer.
And we'd be going through it, like literally be going like head to head, like we both hood at the same time, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
so we'll be at it. But and I still get on the phone like I love this man. This man is like everything he put his mind to is this and that. And then I get off the phone like I can't stand you, yo. Like what I mean? But
Yeah,
in the hopes that can you imagine being in a relationship with me and we both growing spiritually, we both growing at the same time. We both
that is
evolving,
that is
and I
I've
see you
always
slack it. You know.
I've always loved that picture of the man and the woman as a sculpture. And at their base is the foundation. It's only the torso up, but they are literally chipping away at each other to
Yeah.
remove all the imperfections. And it's crazy that we're having this conversation and this is how the universe works.
Because
You
it
just
wasn't
said,
even supposed to be about this. Like,
look,
it's,
but listen, you said you write a lot. I spend a lot of time on my computer journaling. I just
mhm,
typed up the philosophy that I have for the story of creation that ties into what we're talking about.
okay.
So when God created Adam, they say that he made Eve from his rib. And I thought about that the other day and I said, well, if he made her from that one rib, what's the likelihood of him making the same woman based on a different rib? And in a way, it's like, so every man has a point of his life that he's missing something that a woman is supposed to feel. That is his partner, his spouse, his helper. And that is what your counterpart is there for. And there's only one person that will fit that space.
Mhm.
And so many times we will try to force feed. And sometimes when it just fits, even
It's,
when we even when we look at the slightest, like, okay, yeah, it's a perfect fit, but it's still a little crack right here. We don't look at it over time. If you give that wound time, it'll heal.
do you know that science, right? The modernism part of that? You know, you guys are missing a rib, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is amazing to me when you really sit back.
Mhm,
Once you become a thinker
mhm.
and you really can dive into the depths of thought to fully understand that you are never really wrong as long as you can back up what you're thinking of or what your reasoning is. And that's what caught my attention with your video from yesterday. Like I said,
Uh,
when you speak,
so, yeah, them red flags. I had to the people. Yeah, you say red flags and this and that, and what really like drew me away from them and they speaking was like everybody has this illusion of a perfect person. That's an illusion to me. So he don't have this or da 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 this or whatever. But you know what? I didn't come into the relationship wanting that. I don't need that. I didn't need that. Like, let's be for real. Like, I briefly stated all my accolades in the beginning, right? I'm working on my second master's. I can get it on my own. From the hood too. I know how to get it up. I know how to. I'm Listen, if it all, what you say? If all I need is two on the scale, four on the scale, I know how to do it that way too. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But
yeah,
I ain't gonna revert backwards. But I don't need a man for that. It's a man means so much more. Actually, Gary means so much. I'm gonna say his name. Anyway, he means so much more to, to me than that. You get what I'm saying? It's it's
it's substance. It
it is. You know what I mean? Like, and then they
it
like red
literally
flags.
and
Unless he got, you
it'll
know,
piss you off to a point where it's like, what is it about this motherfucker that I love so much? But
I
when
don't
you lay
know.
down at night, you have to realize, like, yo, this is what this person does for me.
Pushes me. Gary, God dang it, he he pushed me to levels that you can't see. Like push me to conquer things you can't that's unseen, right? Things that I thought I was over. He brought it to light and made me realize that I really wasn't truly over it. But here's the here's the catch to that. I didn't realize how much he was already doing until we split.
That's usually how it go.
Yeah, like and then I didn't realize I didn't see him until we was apart. So this separation is it kind of it helped. It didn't, I don't know if it's going to help our relationship, but or where our relationship stands from here. I really don't. Like this is the longest we have been apart in Feb, like since we've been in the relationship. Like
Yeah.
so I'm not sure where it's leading, but I do see him now. I see him now. And that's the red flags. That's what I meant by them red flags. Like, are they really red flags? Does it mean run? Does those red flags mean run? And where the yellow and the green at? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even speak on green. I just spoke on red and yellow. What the yellow and the green like? Where they at? Where the yellow at? And so what I asked was, the question I posed yesterday with red flags are they serious warnings, like serious warning signs? Or are they just bumps in the road? Right? Because what learned, what we tend to do is, like I said, we domesticate it, right? And going against the grain is a little bit different. I'm grateful because I have children and I could teach them a little different. I mean, like, right, than what I've been taught and what my parents been taught and blah, blah, blah. And I know for sure it's in many households. So we're used to the same pattern, right? We handle things the same way. Let's think of like conflict, for instance, right? Majority of us do not know how to have conflict. Is necessary. It's necessary. It's absolutely necessary. But how we handle it is key,
Absolutely.
right? So a lot of us, many of us, many, probably just only like 1% that does know how to handle conflict in a healthy manner. And the rest of that, we don't, right? Because we're not used to seeing this. And the reason why is because we're stuck to certain things. We see conflict is either in your household, either like you saw arguing, you saw fighting. You may see people just walk out, leave. Oh, I ain't taking this. I'm out. I'm done.
It's
You
trauma.
know,
It's trauma. It's a trauma response, and we unfortunately are a generation who has experienced trauma not only on a domestic level, like in our homes, but through a society as well.
right. Your whole society impacts that.
Yeah,
Somebody say something you don't like, or they telling you, you just think of the, of defense like real quick.
yeah,
Especially you growing up in the inner city. I grew up in Newark.
yeah,
I'm grew up in Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
especially you growing up in the inner city, like you really have to. The people that check your chin, now they test your chin for real. Like, so you don't know when not to be defensive.
yeah.
So you always gotta have your guard up or whatever. You gotta watch out for whatever the case may be. So
To me,
we
it
don't.
comes down to a game of self understanding. Like you really have to. Once you understand yourself, you understand what's worth your energy and what's not. You
Yeah,
understand reputation means nothing
it
because
doesn't. So
yourself. Just self esteem is exactly that. The way that you feel about you, and once you spend time with yourself to better understand who you are, nobody else should be able to sway you from that.
no, a person is defined by how they react to any given situation.
Absolutely. It's
Re-
not what you say, it's what you do.
Any given situation. And who's going to write that story? Like us responding in a way that's typical, they wrote the story.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
It's
So,
outside. Even thinking back to when we was kids, if you with a group of friends and somebody say something to you, the narrative is usually controlled by the outside people. You
exactly. So
have a
they write in your story. They write in your story.
yeah,
So, nah, not here.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? But again, it's a challenge. It's a challenge because you battling yourself with that too, right? And then, you have a whole another being here, a whole other spiritual being, they battling it too.
yeah.
So he may say something that I may not like, and my first instinct is like, what? You know what I mean? Like, or I may say something, right? Or simple as this, because I don't evolve to another level with that, I may speak how I feel.
Mm.
Some people don't even know how to take that. I may just speak how I feel, and you take it as an insult or
And
like you have to defend yourself.
the crazy part about that to me is the fact that when you speak on how you feel, people don't look at it as an attempt to gain understanding. Like if I tell you how I feel about a situation, it's not to chastise you. It's just me
Right,
acknowledging how that situation makes me feel.
right.
That's it. But so many people, again, it comes from trauma.
It
It,
comes from trauma, and it comes from not knowing too,
yeah,
right? So we don't know how to go past that. I'm grateful enough and I'm blessed to know to think a little like this don't feel right. Something is not right. Let me research, right? So that's my mind. So now it's with that, right? So Jill Scott told me, as far as about writing, once it's on paper, it no longer belongs to you, right? So you have to share it with the world. My philosophy, my thinking is lessons, right? Life is spelled out Life. Life is lessons of love, inspiration, faith, and endurance to me, right? So that means what I learned is I can't just hold it in. That's why I got as I grow. I can't hold it in. then we'll never prosper. We'll never evolve. And we're supposed to be evolved. We are evolved. That's what the human race is about. Evolution. It's to give it. That's the reason why we don't know is because people don't share. Right? It's like grandma with the recipes that she never wrote down, and then now she gone. Y'all know how to make grandma biscuits? No, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so you gotta like share it. You gotta you learn it, you imply it, and then you give it back.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that's the
So
with anything. People don't understand that because for a lot of people, everything is based in material. We
yeah,
and it falls back into that domestication because we've been trained
yeah,
that value
yeah,
is only worth whatever people can touch. We've been taught not to go within to actually learn what wealth is within
right.
your spirit. We've been taught to understand wealth as a product. Under-
It's so much bigger than that. Success
Yeah,
is so much more than
yeah.
that. That's like so minute, right? Like that's so like success means so much more than that. I done had it all. I done had it all. I had so much money you just didn't know what to do with it and not the right mind. If I had that mind then with Carter 9, if I had that mind even 10 years ago, oh my gosh, the world be in trouble. You know what I mean? So it's so much bigger than that. And it's this platform, your platform, and our platforms is how we're going to reach people and teach them. Like, so, all right. So, coming, my question was, are they bumps in the road? Now, the only way to distinguish that you'll be able to distinguish the truth is you got to look at self first, right? Like, you have to look at self. You have to make sure that okay, so me becoming a therapist, right?
Hmm.
In order for me to be the best therapist, and this is funny because they say it in therapy, but I say it in life, right? And like before even going to class and pursuing my therapy, becoming a therapist. If you want to be, my grandmother used to tell me you have to live like a wife, right? That was in my aspirations. I'll be honest with you, was to be a wife. But you have to. In other words, what she was saying is you have to already live like you what you want, right? And that's in anything. Speak it and live like it's already here. So yeah, so in order for me to be the best therapist I can be, I have to work on myself. So I got to make sure things that my past issues are covered. And that's what this relationship did for me. It uncovered things that I thought was not true, like that was gone. And it wasn't. And it showed up in my relationship. It did because I was very not putting it all on me. We both had our things, but it's me here speaking and he's not here to speak for himself, right? So but no, absolutely it wasn't one-sided. But on my part, I'm speaking on my part, I didn't look within. I didn't ask myself these questions. I didn't ask like, am I really? Do I have a real clear mind to really see the real true essence of this relationship? What's up with me? How am I feeling inside? And what am I doing? Because stuff just don't come. You got to put in the work. Are you really putting in the work spiritually? Are you getting grounded? Are you, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
We get distracted,
You
and
do.
we get distracted because of what we. Let me catch myself. We get distracted first off because of lack of understanding. If you, we have been taught to come into relationships with expectations. We've always been told what me. They've always told me what a wife should do, what she shouldn't do. They've told me what I should do as a husband, what I shouldn't do. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing for me was understanding that I just have to be me.
Just that's it.
Where we
That's it.
get caught up in is you have to slip away, and it's beautiful for me to be able to say this because you've known I haven't always been as deep in this as I am now, but when you spend time on your own and you fully understand who you are, you want the same respect that you would give yourself. You want to offer that to other people. But the trick with that is not everybody understands how to handle that situation. A lot of people don't know how to take an open book because, like I said, we've been taught of what you're supposed to do in this position in somebody else's life.
Hmm.
And
Homeostasis. That's what that's called. Homeostasis. That's like when you stick to the same old thing, same old pattern. So what happens when change comes? I actually told someone today because I knew I was going to get a lot from that. I knew it, and I was ready for it. I told somebody today. I'm like, all right, whatever, just. Okay, that's how you feel, right? But this is how I feel. But let me ask this question. So you stick to your same ways, and when change comes or pressure, a problem comes or pressure start building up, how do you react? I'm like, even the road, you have to switch directions. The road's not even straight.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. The roads are not even straight.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to shift gears. Like sometimes you have to turn left, sometimes you got to turn right.
You gotta build your own damn road because sometimes there's not a road there. And
And on top of that, yeah,
it's a
yeah,
point in life where neither one of you have ever had to deal with that.
mm-hmm.
A lot of repressed trauma in a lot of people. And when you get in relationships, sometimes, especially if there's a connection, that person will sometimes reflect aspects of you that you have not touched yet.
Exactly,
And you don't know
exactly
how to
true.
deal with that. So,
Exactly true.
and
Exactly true. And it's a lot of things with when dealing with relationships, since we talk about red flags usually tend to come up in relationship talk, right? A lot of us don't set clear boundaries either. Boundaries within ourselves, between the two individuals that's inside the relationship, and boundaries from outside influence as
that
well. And I'm no people. Straight up. I'm no people. I'm no people. It's just that somebody will call, oh, this is such and such, I need to, or they'll call every day. And it's crazy because my ancestors could tell me, like, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show, they'll tell me who's talking behind our back. They'll tell me who's not for us. He'll tell me, he would tell me, my dude would tell me, like, yo, everybody don't deserve your light. And I'm like, yo, that's my gift though. Not to stick around and give, watch it grow, but I gotta give people the light. I'm not asking for people to come up to me. I'm not doing that. And he like, nah, that's not what I mean, but couldn't really explain what he meant. So I'm thinking like, come on, bro, you jealous. You know what I mean? Like, like,
lost a
but
lot. I have lost a lot
yeah,
by offering what I have to others energetically and not understanding that eventually, like, you realize most of the people who you give the most of your energy to in those situations, it's not that they don't want to give back in the same measure, but they can't. And sometimes we get caught up because I used to get caught up in the situation of expecting the same things that I give to people back. And I had to understand not everybody is you, Corey. Not everybody is
on top of that, it's not even just giving the same energy you give, but sometimes we expect things automatically from certain people depending who they are.
yeah.
Because you this person, I expect it from you because you hold this title in my life.
And that right there is for the reason. Remember, I called you last year and I talked to you about how I was renouncing titles. And that was part of the reason because it helped me to relinquish the responsibility that I held people to because of a title that they have in my life. Understanding that I move more on energy. Like I always said, like I didn't grow up in the best situation. Family has not always been family. Friends have not always been friends. Sisters, all my sisters are biological, but through life, I've gained these connections with people who have placed themselves in these situations. And even though they weren't given this title from birth, they own that position. So that's why I relinquish titles and I just allow people to be who they be for
I,
me.
I'm still gonna give them their titles, but what I came to realization with was like, and this was recent too. This was like a couple years ago. I had to come to the realization that I may never have the relationship I yearn for, whoever the person may be, right? Because like, I can't change it. I'm not gonna go to family reunions all the time, or somebody passed. I'm not gonna go to a homegoing service,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to deal with them. So I'm not gonna be denounce them from who the title they have. I'm just not going to put too much of the effort in. Like I have brothers. I have six brothers, right? Six brothers. I actively speak to two.
Hmm.
I actively speak to two. And I'm constantly trying to reach out. Reach out, reach out, reach out, reach out, reach out. Don't get no response. Or if they do answer, I'm gonna call you back. And I don't get no response. Now I just be like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. That's still my brother.
And see,
Still my brothers.
that's a
You
different
know?
dynamic of a relationship because with me, I have one biological sibling, just my younger sister.
Mhm.
So even when me and her have had our fallouts and due to outside outside forces.
Hmm.
Of that. But when it comes to that, you came through the same chamber of life. That's how I look. Whatever brought you here, it was the same process, and you guys are related through that process.
Right.
And when it comes to anything beside immediate family, I really have disconnected from, because it's one of those things where when you come from a certain aspect of family, like me, I was the black sheep because I was kind of the rebellious kid. I
It's
was
so
the,
good.
I
Yeah.
did I did my thing the way I wanted to do it, and if you didn't like
Hmm.
it, I moved around from it. I've always been a lone wolf,
Yeah.
and I come from a more traditional family, a very church going.
Home and Ceaze, yes.
And
So and they probably deal with hierarchy too. And what I mean by hierarchy is like the oldest has the most rules, like they set the rules, or whoever has this, and that, and the most responsibilities and
you
all of
just
that.
fall
So
in line with that.
mhm,
If it's a parent, if it's an aunt, if it's a
mhm,
if they are older than you fall in line with that. You don't
right,
speak freely. You do
right,
whatever they tell you to. And I've always been the one that was like, no.
right.
And
Same,
that
same.
now that I'm where I'm at in life, and I like I always say, your journey since day one meeting you, it has been nothing short of fucking amazing.
I appreciate it.
And
I appreciate it.
even when we down, like we still, there's been days where you've called me. I don't even tell you I'm going through it. But you just call,
Mhm.
hey, bro, I was calling to check on you. It's been days where I call you, actually, so I'm just checking on you.
Yeah,
And those are the times that mostly what's crazy, those are the times where we needed it the most.
yeah. And you know what? I think you're like one of the few, right? And you don't even know full details of our relationship, right? You just know we together, and but you don't know like the deep full details. You know, we all everybody has, especially when you're dealing with people, you're gonna have some bumps in the road.
Absolutely.
And one thing I appreciate is you will never tell me to leave this man.
It's
No.
not my place. I can only, as a friend, I feel like as a friend, only thing I should be focused on is reassuring you of who you are.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, once I remind you of who you are the one
My choice to make
to
the
reflect
decision.
on the situation and make the final decision to say, is this something that fits or is it not? It's not my place to tell you how to live your life.
Right. And that's why I
Oh,
think that's where the red flags come from, right? So
absolutely.
people they the outside influences usually tend to like give them
Your red flags aren't everybody's red flags. So
exactly.
people will come to you. The thing that I've learned, most people project their own perspective onto you in order
Hmm.
for you to side with their perspective to make them feel right. People do not take enough credit for themselves needing validation through their own psychological methods.
Okay. So let's talk about that real quick, right? How do we get there? Because there's some relationships that really truly are red flags, right? Whatever the case you want to be. Some relations, sometimes this is you really do not belong. However, again, it's not for anyone outside of you to determine that.
Yeah.
Like we said. So how do we get to that center?
You
Um,
have to, it starts with the process. I'll start with the process that me and you have kind of been walking in for a while. Respect for individuality. You
mhm,
are an individual. Nothing I say is law for your life. I can't
mhm,
tell you the laws that apply to your life. Only you know those things. And as long as you are not, as long as your energy is not in a state of danger,
so there we go. So that's I believe that's how we get there. So a lot of people are not in tune with self. So I think that's where we have to start. You
yeah,
got to ask yourself some tough questions first before you
yeah,
try to have a tough conversation,
absolutely.
right? So being balanced, everything is a balance. It talk about it in any book, and I don't read Quran. Look, I grew up I have my brother's a Muslim, and I have Christian and Baptist background, right? And then I have spiritual, and then plus they were spiritual, right? So African spirituality too. And then I study, right? I like to read, and I study. In every book, it speaks about balance. It speaks about balance. What you give is what you get 10 times fold and blah, blah, So what you put in yourself, like you got to be centered with yourself. So that means me, and everything may not work, and that's what I'm learning. Everything that I do may not work for others, but I'm just speaking, and I'm not saying, guys, to go ahead and do this if it doesn't resonate with you. Don't do it. But however, it can put you on a guide or a path to what to peace, right? And it's working. And then of course you have your ups and downs. We're human at the same time. Well, no, we're not human. We're spiritual beings having human experiences. So
Say that. Say that.
um so what I like to do is I like to get grounded. I'll I started with I believe in gratefulness. I
Amen.
believe that is the most powerful thing you can do for self. And when you're in a space that's so low, it's the most difficult. So just even challenging yourself to do that alone is it's a challenge. So when I first started it, and I'm redoing it, and it's a challenge even now. But I remember first doing it with right after I had my baby boy Chance, recognizing that I had postpartum depression, PTSD, and I never been in the military. Um, but I've been in the streets, so and like I said, it's like, well, that
All
you
just
know, and
out of the coin, man. Like you.
witnessing things. I remember uh I was about 8, maybe a little younger than that, and I'm playing outside and seeing my first murder. I was a little younger than that. You know what I mean? Walking to school, seeing he could smell, but it should not stink anyway, and seeing a dead body, seeing all of this, and that's trauma.
Absolutely.
That's PTSD. That's that stuff would just do something to you, like um. And then I'm not ashamed to speak of it. And then being a victim of, nah, never a victim. Then going through the path of being sexually abused as a kid, multiple times.
Which
You
is
know, so
may I interject with just a
yeah,
quick,
yeah.
which is something that we as a community of indigenous people need to talk about because that does not come from our DNA. That
Mm,
comes from ancestral trauma. That
okay,
comes from ancestral trauma.
okay.
And
Yeah,
it being passed down through it goes back to what they when they first enslaved the people who were in America, and that was part of their process. It's still part of that process. If you think you're bigger than the system, we're going to embarrass you in front of everyone.
public. Yeah.
And that came
So
down to rape, that came down to sexual assault, that came down to, and it only exists if you go through history. Those types of aspects only exist in Roman and Greek culture. Sexual exploitation does not exist in African history.
no, 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 no. They honor their woman. We special, right? We are special. We we are spiritual beings. We
Absolutely.
bring a spirit here on earth. Right? But we could get on that another time. um, so yeah, but witnessing all this and it was hard. I was at a low point and I was somewhere I didn't want to be. And I'm like, yo, grateful. I need to state what I'm grateful for. I kid you not, I'm like, I'm grateful for I try to open his bottle or something. No, I try to open a thing. Yeah, his bottle so I could pour I breastfed. These boys don't know what milk is. Not no cow milk. Daggone open his bottle so I could pour it in the thing, the milk in and I had to use my thumbs. And I'm like, I'm grateful I got these thumbs. It literally started like that. You know what I mean? Like, and it's okay. It is okay. And then it grew, and then things just started opening up for me. And but at the same time, I also was reading, journaling, facing things. I going just law of attraction, manifestation, writing things down, dating it. That makes it real. I'll
I'm listening
so I
to.
think that's how you get back to your get to your center, right? And some practice yoga or meditation. Meditation is a big one, right? I like to burn my incense or my palo sign. So whatever the case may be, whatever I'm feeling,
I'm listening
chakras is
to this.
real.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
Grab something. You good?
Okay, you good, you good. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like before, like going into somebody is a red flag, avoid them. We be missing out on blessings sometimes.
Man, listen, it's. Let me not say
Because
blessings because what's meant for us is always gonna be ours. We extend our suffering period by not being in tune with what is really being done for us and not to us.
Mhm.
And I've honestly missed out on a lot, and that's been one of my biggest challenges is not second guessing, like accepting, like, okay, this didn't work, but let's figure out why this didn't work.
second order change, right? That's what that's called. So I was big on first order change, and first order change is like maybe like if it's conflict, separate for a minute, right? But that's not getting to the root of the problem. I'm
Mm,
all for the second order change now. So that's like, all right, where did we go wrong? What's up? And like I stated earlier, like I didn't notice this until after we separated.
mhm,
Yeah, I wanted the best for us always, and always saw a peaceful outcome for us, a happy outcome, and I still do, still hoping for that, right? Um, however,
mm,
I really wasn't seeing him. And
mhm,
then sitting back, I had to sit with myself, and then sitting here, I'm not by myself. I have my children, of course, but it's a different thing. But sitting here without his presence, it really made me see him fully. I didn't see that he was hurting. I didn't see all the efforts he was pushing forward, like he was putting through. I didn't see all of that. I didn't see that it was something bigger than all of this, like something real deep, like he needed me for. You know, I didn't see all that. All I saw was what
I won't
wasn't being
I
done.
won't say any names, but it's one of those situations where for me it was a game of me being so used to having to show other to teach other people and not understanding when the universe drops somebody in my life who knows exactly what their task is, and it may not be done, it's done in a way that I'm not used to. You know what I mean? So instantly, like we said earlier, it leads me to a traumatic response, which is conflict. And you start to kind of find, like you said, everything that's wrong. Instead of looking
Mhm.
at what is being done correctly, we instantly justify the way we feel because something has to be wrong. It can't be that this is new to us. We need to sit down and learn this before we make a decision on saying, no, this isn't for me. And it
Right.
goes back to, like you said, the red flags. You run into a situation that kind of challenges what you're used to. And
Mhm.
you instantly, the red flag is an instant. Like you said, what happened to the yellow? If everything is a green light, you run into a situation, sometimes you have to slow down, but
Mhm.
it doesn't mean you stop. But for so many
Right.
people, especially nowadays, we have been given this understanding that, like you said, people come ready made. Nobody comes ready made. It's a game of learning. That's what life is. It's a game of learning. You have to be willing. If you feel like you know everything, you've already stopped living.
You're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
And
Your purpose is fulfilled.
in our relationships, so many times because of the way that we've been instructed to look for these qualities in a spouse, look for these qualities in a friend, and sometimes you just meet people. And
You know what's funny to me though? I'm just saying.
but
So you saying we are trained to look for such and such. It's even in our cartoons as growing up with the princess fairy tale crap. It has to be Prince Charming, right?
mhm,
It has to be a Prince Charming. It's kind of flipping up now, and I love it. I love the new ones, right? So they're giving a different perspective of. However, we look for that, and I'm just wondering. Jesus didn't even look for that. If you think about he didn't look for that.
I- listen,
He had the most gangster behind people. If you look at it, you know what I mean?
he was just who he was.
Uh,
Wherever he was, he looked to. provide something for everybody who was. He looked to be an experience,
He definitely was that for them.
and I think that's what, like you said earlier, where do we start? We start to learn what our individual experience means to the world. What do you do for people? Like for me, I've learned, just like I said with my podcast, this is a platform of comfort, freedom, and acceptance. I don't want people to feel like they have to come on here and stick to a certain guideline of speaking this way or speaking. No, it's a conversation, and I've
It's a
always been
conversation.
able to try my best to provide whoever is around me a comfortable, safe space to just exist. You don't have to be,
Something just came up. Something just came up.
yeah,
I don't know. Something just came up. So I don't know what it's at. I don't know where it's coming from. But I don't know who this for. You never may not get that apology. If somebody did something to you, uh, somebody raped you, you may never get an understanding of why. What you need to understand, it wasn't your fault. You need to understand it wasn't your fault. You need to understand it wasn't just for you. That you have to build resilience in that. It wasn't your fault. Forgive, yes, to release. Forgive to release. But you don't have to speak to this person. It's a family member. You don't have to you don't have to you still so what? If it's a family member, you don't have to converse with the person. You don't have to go to Thanksgiving dinner with the person. You don't have to do none of that. But you can't be waiting on an apology. It may never come. That person just died tomorrow. So my bad.
you good.
Um
We I'm gonna
I-
say this, and we gonna have a conversation after this because you
okay.
just spoke volume, and it's not, it's a situation. I'll say this, man. It has nothing to do with like any type of sexual assault, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it may not be a sexual
I
assault,
know
but yeah.
I know exactly the situation that you're talking about,
Okay.
and I'm gonna fill you
Okay.
in on that when we
Okay.
done here. But I
Okay.
appreciate you for that, and that is why I love
Yeah.
you, because you're able to convey those messages. For me, it's been, my energy has been caught up in so many artificial spiritualists, and
Ooh, child.
it's one of
Oh
those
my
things
goodness.
where it's a lot of, I'll say, it's a lot of trickster spirits, and when people don't know the difference
Mm,
between what they're, when people have that gift of being able to hear those things, but they don't have the understanding to decipher between what is what and what isn't what it says it is, you have to listen for small cues, and those small cues will acknowledge that that person is dealing with a trickster spirit. And when they're dealing with that trickster spirit, you have the responsibility now to not only, yeah, sometimes you're going to have to listen,
mm,
but the reason that you're being forced to listen is to be made aware. And I love the authenticity, because you've always just been that, and I literally was walking to the store earlier today, and I said sometimes with this gift it's almost like living in the future. It
We all, we all have gifts,
Yeah,
right?
we are.
Everybody has a gift. However, again, you have to be in tune with self to recognize it. I'm still growing in mine. Actually, that was the first time it came out so clear. I'm still growing with mine. And I asked to be connected to my higher self so I can hear things clearer and, see things and see the signs. Like I know everything is something, right? And
1,000%.
you know what's crazy, right? Let me tell you something. Since my dude been not here, it's been like a crazy amount of yellow and black butterflies that's been coming around. And I'm like, yo, what's these yellow and black butterflies? And I look it up. I look stuff up like that, right? So I'm like, all these yellow and black butterflies, and whatever resonates with you, but you still have to be in tune with self to know the difference, right? To decipher between the two.
Absolutely.
It did not. I looked on his page yesterday, and he did a video, and it was a whole bunch of yellow and black butterflies
It's
by him. He by
synchronicity.
himself.
It's synchronicity is the timeline, the jump that we've made for the ones who
Mhm.
actually made the jump. It's crazy because people were expecting theatrics. They were expecting the sky to crack open and
Yeah,
really all it was access to a higher frequency.
yeah, I got sick.
I
I I
I slept.
I
I slept and
I hear I slept, but my head
it was a big
and
reset
yeah,
for me. Like
yeah.
I didn't understand why I was losing so much. I used to fight it for so long and be like, bro, but I need this, but I need this, but I need this, I need this. No, don't take this from no, don't. And it got to a point where now I can literally look at it and say anything that is not for me is being removed in order to make room for everything that is. When you got big blessings coming in, you're going to lose everything. It's just like if you're refurnishing a house. You
Mhm.
you you got to get rid of everything in that house in order to refurnish the house. And when you got bigger shit coming in, you might have to make a little extra room. Everything
Mhm.
might have to go. You might literally have to start over from scratch. You just might lose the entire house just to get access to a bigger house.
Right.
Like,
There we go. And sometimes it's not even a loss.
no, it's literally, bro,
Yeah.
this no
Yeah.
longer start. It's like a kid with a toy. If that kid is outgrowing that toy, no matter how much they want to hold on to it,
Yeah.
eventually you have to let it go.
Have to let it go. And if it's for you, it's for
It'll
you,
come back.
right? So absolutely. So sometimes we be so stuck in our ways and so comfortable.
Comfort be a
And
killer, bro. Comfort is a killer to me, man.
when you get comfortable in a situation, that's the worst. Like you get stagnant, you get stuck in a
Yeah.
situation, it's the worst. And you have to shake things up a little bit.
Sometimes you get so comfortable, like you said, with the red flags, you ignore all the actual red flags because you're comfortable.
Mhm.
And
Once, yep. And here comes Chance. Yay. What's up?
but
What's up, my guy?
it,
Nothing. I'm just bored. You're bored? Okay. Well, mommy's recording right now, okay? I'll be out there in a minute, okay? Okay. All right, thank you.
I love it. I love it. Every time I
Can
see them, I just you realize,
you close the door for me?
you realize every time
I
I'm around
appreciate it.
them, like
Thanks, love.
literally,
Okay.
I literally just observe them because they are so advanced and just unique, and
Mhm.
that is a nod to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to listen to that little one, like Clear, because he's out of this world. Both of them are, but that little one, he'll speak it through. Like, Mommy, when we first moved in here, Mommy, we're not going to be here long. And I'm like, stop. We're not going to be here. We're going to get a bigger place. And guess what? If I turn this thing around right now, I'm packing. But I just moved here. You know what I mean? Like, all right.
That's
And to the point where I was like, Chance, are we going to find a place soon? Yeah. Yeah. Like really like,
that's the blessing of it all is when you have, and that's why people. I tell everybody, people got to really read that book because that book tells you to be childlike, maintain that
mm-hmm,
openness. Like people don't
mm-hmm,
they don't mean hold on to childish practices. They don't mean hold
yeah,
on to childish pride,
they the
whatever.
most connected.
What
They still connected to that spiritual
it
world. Yeah. Boom.
means to have an open mind to experience,
Yes.
not ever being like you said earlier, domesticated to the point where somebody can
Mm-hmm.
tell you this is what you
Mm-hmm.
should be doing. That is what you should be doing.
Yep.
Literally is having that childlike freedom to confidently move through life without
Yeah.
fear.
I was in there sick, not like sick literally, right? But I'm in there like, yo, it's been like a month now, right? And so I don't even know how long it's been, but I'm in going through the phases of this separation. So I lay on the couch and I'm like in there trying to just keep it together because I do have kids, right? And just trying to keep it together. I just laid down. Do you know them boys came in there was like, I'm not crying or nothing, I just laid down like ugh. I put my books, my notes, put everything away. I put everything away. I was like, I'm just gonna lay down and relax. He said, we know you miss Mr. G. We miss him too, and he miss you too. Kiss me on my forehead and we're in their rooms. I'm gonna go in no chance ain't go in his room. He went in his brother's room. I'm going in my brother's room tonight, okay, mama? You're gonna be okay. You go look, gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Like, and I'm like, okay.
You gotta appreciate. Like I talked to my daughter.
You sure you don't like this one? You see what I mean? Like, right. Okay. Like that's constant.
I tell
That is
everybody that daughter
like
has been such a motivational factor for me in the past few months, just because
change the door. Close the door, King.
she
Yeah.
she she takes, and it's amazing to me the amount of concern that she has with my life and where I'm headed, because she'll tell, "Hey, Dad, how was your day? On
Mm-hmm.
with you?" And I tell her like, "Okay, if I got a bad day, I tell her, okay, today was a little bit of a bad day, but through it." And she'll tell me, "Okay, Dad, sorry to hear that, but I hope tomorrow's better for you." And
And I think that's important
she
to tell
doesn't
them you're not well.
she doesn't understand what that means, because for the longest, me not having, my daughter still lives back home. So me
Mm-hmm.
not being able to see her that often, that was a void that I had been subconsciously trying to fulfill with finding somebody to motivate me to keep going. Never
Mm-hmm.
finding it until now, that void is no longer a void because she's filling that void. I know someone genuinely cares. And
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
not just for material gain, it's not just for the title, it's not just for possession, which is another
Right.
thing of a red flag. A lot of people won't acknowledge the difference between possession and want to keep. A want to keep, in my understanding, just means that this is somebody that you love to have in your corner. And possession is usually done by a narcissistic, and because they take pride in saying that they have you.
Yeah.
And that is like, even when you look at spirituality, when we use the word possession and spirituality, it means that something has you, not
Right.
who you are.
That's control.
It's
Yeah. It's
control.
control of
It's not.
they separate you from everything and everyone and yeah.
And once you understand that word possession, and you start to look at it with our interactions with people, you look at jobs. Jobs are just, they possess you. They have you.
Mm-hmm.
They have,
It's contract.
exactly.
Yeah.
And relationships are the same way sometimes. And the thing is, like you said earlier, how do we get there? Self-awareness and being able to decipher when someone
Yeah.
wants to keep you and someone who just wants to have possession of you.
But you'll know that, especially if you ask questions, right? So I was very much so aware that my guy was into just me. It wasn't no personal gain or anything like that. Not because only I known him since I was 12. That's besides the point, right? Because we didn't have constant communication throughout them years. However, when we decided to join in this manner, like connecting this on this level, we literally sat down outside and asked some like serious questions towards each other, like some real tough questions. How do you handle conflict? This is what about this and this and that? How do you feel about this? What are your efforts? How do you want to grow? Like, what's your plans? And blah blah.
Interview
You know,
process.
we really
It's the process that we all skip because we in such a rush.
we're so
That
bliss,
fairy
right?
tale
Yeah,
ending.
yeah,
We just want
yeah. No,
everything to work out the perfect picture, that we don't really take the time. First off, most people don't even understand what answers they want to hear in that interview process. So they go along with whatever it is that makes them feel comfortable.
they don't even know the questions to
But
ask.
when you look
They
at
don't know what they want.
when you understand spirit and self,
Yeah,
you that is your most prized, that's your purpose. So
yeah,
anything that you want to include with that, you have to break it down and know exactly what questions to ask.
yeah.
I can't hire
Yeah.
people for, like, me, like, my photography business. If I'm looking to hire staff, the first thing I'm going to ask is about how they handle cameras. What cameras are they comfortable?
Mhm.
Hey, have you used this camera before? It works the same with relationships, but you have to be honest with people.
You have to be honest. So the hardest thing for me with the relationship, and I can't stand it. He used to say things like, not because he said it. it's not him I couldn't understand. It's just the bigger picture I couldn't understand, right? Well, a man's supposed to that irks the crap out of me. Not only just from him, but from my brothers too. You know what I mean? Or a man's supposed to wait a minute, time out. First off, bro, we didn't even have a man in the house. So how the hell you know what the hell a man's supposed to? You know what I mean?
Another
Like
part,
I'm talking to my brothers with this.
the
Like,
reason
what you mean? What?
relinquishing
How?
titles is nobody tell me that we all don't have a balance of masculine and feminine. It's all about which one you train more.
Yeah,
We are all
yeah,
born with masculine and feminine energy.
yeah,
The masculine being
yeah,
the flesh, the body, the feminine being the spirit and emotional aspect.
yeah.
And
And sometimes the warrior.
yeah,
I used to tell Gary, but I done say his name 50 million times. I used to tell Gary, like, yo, you want to go to war for me, but do you know the war of God, the God of war, Shango? Do you know if it's a beef or a battle? You know who he calling? He like who? Oya. Yeah. So she coming with that win first. She coming to clean. Really, Shango don't even
yeah.
need to do nothing. Right? She coming with them storms. Like, so what you mean with a man? We got to be we gotta be equal with it. Like I want the same for you that you want.
You're supposed to be one.
It's just we connected.
It's what you are good. Whatever you do is what you do, and whatever I do is what I do. But when we put it together,
Boom.
it's supposed to coexist with no friction, no none of that. And
Period.
a lot of people, when there's friction, like we said, back to the red flags. When there's friction, a lot of people automatically are quick to be like, "Oh, it's not gonna work," and
So yeah,
they
exactly.
run.
Exactly.
But that
Yeah,
friction, is the friction really friction, or is it just an imperfection that needs to be addressed? Is it
it is. That's
chip
exactly what
at
it is.
without breaking everything? Red flags are
Yep.
the situations where if I chip at this, it's going to end up breaking.
Right. So stop.
So stop.
You
But
know,
if
stop. Stop the way you're doing it.
that tells me that this is not meant for me to work on. This is not a
Stop.
project. So I stop.
Yeah.
That's when
Reassess the project. You know what I'm saying? Step back. Look at it a different viewpoint, and then go at it.
if,
Come up with a different.
if me and you are working on a movie and I know you're good at script writing. I'm even if I said, "Hey, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try script writing." The minute I realize this is not something that is working for me, I'm getting frustrated with it. I'm getting pissed off with it. That's when you understand this is someone else's job. It's not my job. This isn't
Yeah.
my project. And it's the same with
Yeah.
people. You you have to look. Don't we try to stress ourselves with doing more than we're capable of in order to meet the standards of somebody else? You can only do what you can do. Your job is not to change just to fit this job. It may
Right.
not
No.
be
No.
your job. Like
No. You're right. It's not for
it's
you.
not for you.
So
But understand that and be
or it may just mean get another skill, right? So I remember going to school for script writing. I went to a entertainment school, right? So Full Sail University is basically for cinematography, digital marketing, and all of that. That's where Tyler, Beyonce, Cardi, and all of them. That's where they go to get their people to do stuff for them.
hmm
So I take this cinematography class. Actually, me and Gary was taking it. Actually, I was taking film class. I just was doing a certificate at that time. He's doing the cinematography because his eye with the camera is sick, right? So I'm like, yeah, I could write. I write a lot. This script writing class gonna be different, and I thought it was just gonna be like pulling up Word and just typing. Hell no. It's a whole format that you
whole
got.
science,
You can't even type a script in Word. You know what I
whole
mean?
science to
Yeah. It's you gotta use a whole different program. Like, and then you really I'm like, yo, what the hell? Like, so it maybe it's to fall back and listen sometimes. It's not that meaning that it's not for you. Maybe you're trying to be, in my case, I think sometimes I'd be trying too assertive, right? And maybe sometimes I just need to fall back. Not saying that it's so if I be like, yo, something's, I don't know, whatever the case may be, you chipping at something. Not saying I can't do it. Um, Maybe I need to listen though to instruction. right, before it breaks. So if you're changing a tube in a car, and some the tubes, I don't know why they put plastic shit in cars, but like you change, and you got to be real gentle on getting it out. Like I could get it out, but it's stuck a little
Mm.
bit, so you're trying to put a little bit more pressure, but something telling you or someone telling you like, hold on, stop. That's the red flag. It may not mean it's not your job, like you can't complete it. It just may mean that you need to listen first. Oh, I know how to do this. Boom, boom. We just go at it without getting direction, right? So
So what do you do once you get those directions and it's not like even so I look at life like when you're dealing with people and when I mean by tools and resources, I mean the gifts that we are naturally able to fulfill. Because for a lot of people, there are people that you just can't help. You know what I mean? Like it's they have to be willing to just like you just said,
absolutely,
like you said, have to be
absolutely,
once I hear you and the instructions that you give me, if I follow those instructions and
and they don't score
it's
right.
still not it still seems I'm doing more damage than helping.
Okay, let me ask you. So I don't think that would be an issue if we. It's not just about taking the instructions, right?
Hmm.
It's another step we're missing, in my view. It's another step we're missing. So I'm having an issue. I'm not doing it right. You have some insight and some knowledge on it. It's not for me just to take your knowledge. That's modernism. Remember, I opened with that for some reason. I did. The postmodernism part of it is like, I need to challenge the absolute truth. What you're telling me is absolute truth. You're saying it's absolute truth. And I believe you. I believe you're right. I believe you know what you're talking about. But however, let's sit down and tell me how we get to this absolute truth. You know what I'm saying? So if we have a problem, uh, give me a problem. We have a problem. Couples, let's be couples. We coming up to a disagreement on how to do the dishes, right? Or I don't know, give me something real life shit
So
like
because what I'm looking at is like say I'm not necessarily looking at like the small I'm looking at the spiritual aspects of
yeah, it's I'm gonna bring it back
when
to it.
you
I
meet
promise you.
somebody and say
Mhm,
like we said, you meet somebody and they're from like they still have a traditional mindset in a way, but they're looking to
mhm.
break out of that. And
Okay.
you realize like they may tell you, hey, this is the step that I want to get to and this is where I am now. Yes, everything is traditional. And a part of me believes in this tradition. But like you said,
Okay.
the fairy tale stories. How do we
Mhm.
get people to a point to them viewing the reality of it to take them out of the fairy tale? But at what point of understanding that some people like to live in that fairy tale?
Well, you'll know that because even before you go too deep in that, because you know how you'll know that before you go too deep in realizing that you'll know it from the moment you really sit down and have that discussion, you'll know that by the answers you get. So how you get to that, like they telling you, what I'm got from you is they telling you like, hey, I'm more tradition. However, I'm leaning towards other routes, right? Okay. Your next, I'm here. They saying that I've did this at X, Y, and Z, and I'm here right now. I did step one, two, and three. I'm on step two. Well, whatever. I'm on step three right now. This is where I'm at. So the next thing to do is to challenge that. Not in a bad way. When we think of the word challenge, everybody thinking of sports maybe or whatever, but challenge it in a way like ask questions. You'll know. Ask some open-ended questions. Ask questions that you need to know. And then you'll know from there, right then, you'll know by the answers that you get. They may not answer right then. You may need some questions that need to take time to think about.
I would
But that's how you challenge, that's how you'll
the
know
way that
before you get too
thing
deep.
that I've been having issues with is like for me personally is and it's not even just in like it's in friendships, family relationships, romantic relationships, whatever. I'm such a forgiving person to the point where I literally sometimes have to ask myself, like, have you let too much slide? Like, is it because a lot of shit, like when people like me and you, we meet people, we always see the good in them. And even when we
I see the other side too. Yeah,
yeah,
but that's
I'm learning that I'm learning to pay more attention to the other side and then observing the actions to see which side that individual prefers. Because a lot of people, I'll just use the term spirit and ego. Life should be a balance of the two. Of course, be confident in everything you do, but don't push
yeah.
yourself beyond the limits of where your spirit is being hindered because of the ego. But so many people choose to live in ego because it's a protection mechanism for them. They feel like they are protected because their ego says, "We got this, you got this." No matter how many times they bump their heads, their ego still says, "We got this."
Got it. That's good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
At what
There's nothing wrong with that.
at what point do you? Because a lot of people in society today. It's a good thing until it's abused in my eyes. A lot of people have abused the ego to justify the way that they live because they are afraid of living in their truth.
So then it's not ego at that point, right? It's more like a bully. It's more like a facade. It's more
Fact,
that's what I think.
fact.
I think you need confidence, right? But if you're using it to take control of somebody, that's not
A
ego.
lot of
That's some bullshit. Like straight up. Like
that
you
type of energy though, and we both
that's the stuff that gets your chin checked.
say
That's what that is.
that.
You know what I mean? Like so it- and I guess that's why I love the fact where I'm from because I'm gonna make you, and that's probably why most based on my spirituality and how I move is honestly from the bricks,
Yeah,
right? Like that's I learned it from the bricks because we always challenge somebody. They say they this and me that. I prove it. You know what I mean? Like on some gangster stuff, but in real life, like spirituality, I still want to know. But I'm gonna ask you questions now,
facts.
right? So I'm gonna ask you some deep questions. But if you're not confident in yourself, I don't want you around. So the people that I think that you see, you said made a point. I don't have a lot of people around me, but the ones that I do keep around me, I do see the light in them,
Yeah,
and I see the potential. But they do have to see it in themselves. Now, my thing, what I've learned is sometimes, and I kept getting this over and over and over again. My aunt Ruth, my great aunt Ruth, used to tell me this when I was a little girl, right? And she practiced African spirituality, and I didn't even know it. Like it's around us, and we didn't even know it when growing up. Um, but she'd say something to me all the time, and it came back to me. It's like sometimes you got to touch the fire to know it's hot, right? And I remember, I'm like, and then it just kept coming to me, dreams and everything, and her saying it, and I'm like, yo, we see light in people, but sometimes we can't block their karma or they
you
path
can't.
sometimes, you know. So they have to touch it to know that it's hot. They have to go through it. They have to grow through certain
Those
things.
things,
And we
the yellow flag and the red flag. Sometimes we look at it and it's like you can give person a warning. Hey, if I kind of see which way you're heading,
hmm
just be aware of this. And
right.
it's up to them to take that and apply it. But a lot of people will hit you with the facade of, I got it. Like that's what
I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? You did your job though. You planted the seeds. I think it's for healing people is that sometimes we just need to plant seeds and let go.
I can
Right?
see that.
Again, some people you have to, and I realized what she's saying at 43 from 5 years old. I realize exactly what she mean now. Drop your seeds. They taking heed, definitely, because you've seen the light in them and you have them in your space and long enough to warn them about like, hey, I think I've this and that, or whatever the case, you're giving examples, blah, blah, and this and that. That was enough. Now, it's up to them. But it's not up to you to water it, water that seed, plant, put the soil over it, give it fertilizer, plant food and all that. Sometimes it's not your job to do that. Sometimes they really have to go through it. They really have to go
A
through it.
metaphor that I've heard and I respect so much is that sometimes you got to push people in the ground for them to become aware of the other side of themselves.
Isn't that how roots grow?
Yeah, you got to put
Isn't that how plants sprout?
everybody wants the aspiration of being the beautiful flower, but they don't understand
They gotta go through that
under
to dirt first. You gotta get buried.
yeah. You gotta bury your roots deep, and you gotta be able to stand on whatever it is those roots are.
And that's the reason why I like Black Panther the most. I don't know if people understood that part when they have to get buried to become the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get buried.
It's
It's like a release. You burying
yeah,
the old you and you coming up.
yeah. When you come up out that ground, you have to be something entirely brand new. Everything that you were before has to transpire and be left behind. When you come
Yep.
out of here, you have to come out of this brand new.
Yep.
And when you come out of it brand new, it means you leave everything behind. You don't get to pick and choose. Oh, I'm gonna take this with me. I need to keep this with you. Don't get to keep shit. You literally
No.
have to come out of here understanding that, hey, everything will be provided. I got this. That's when you can say I got this. That is
Yeah. So you know, like, and then it's lessons. And, you always can't put it on the person either, right?
yeah,
Elegba. Somebody told me that Elegba, he's a trickster, issue. So he's a trickster Orisha, right?
yeah,
A lot of people like to draw him as the wicked one, like like a bad thing, but he is really not in my eyes. He's actually who you need to go through, the guide of the crossroads.
yeah.
So
What the hell?
give you a book, right?
Uh huh.
I give you a book. Give you a book. You read it. You say you got the lesson, right? He'll come back with a different cover, different name, same intel in the inside. Give it to you again just to see if you learned your lesson.
It,
You know what I mean? So,
spirit is just the spirit world is fully understanding. It's all knowing. That's the
mhm,
highest realm of existence that you can have. You have
yeah,
when you ask for certain things, they'll continue to put you. I've been in a lot of similar relationships. Why? Because I never learned that lesson.
yeah,
Learned. So
yeah. Different book.
what did they do? They gave me exactly what I asked for, but it was the same spirit in a different body. And
Absolutely.
me having
Yeah.
understanding, it's one of them like it literally is one of them games where you literally look at it and then out of it clicks and you like, wait a minute,
I got
wait a minute.
it. Yeah. And
Hey, mom.
sometimes you have to, because of the path we chose, like the roads we took,
Yeah,
sometimes we have to relive it again just to get to our main thing,
yeah,
right? So I had a little bump in the road before I met Gary, right? Well, not met Gary, but before we got into the relationship. And it was needed
yeah,
to get there.
yeah.
I did learn that lesson. And now what am I going to do? Am I going to, I don't know. We'll see the outcome of Leticia and Gary, I guess. I don't know. But I do believe in manifestation, right? I would never speak. That is an amazing man. And I will forever speak highly of him. And I won't allow anyone else to speak down on him because I do believe in that. What that you put out is what's what it's so. And same for myself. Like I'm an amazing woman. And I am the words I am. Um, Actually that's where he got his chain, right? Yeah, I am. And then ambition. And so yeah, but it's a lot. We could go the red flags. It could be a warning. It don't even have to be the warning for that person as we get into. So you have to just really just I think practicing mindfulness. It could be a warning for you for yourself to check yourself. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you the red flag, right?
It,
Like, so, like
we gonna I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be my closing statement. Then I'm gonna let you do it.
okay, all right.
And for me, give it time. Give everything time. There's an understanding that, like you said earlier, science is the only that it's founded in truth, and we jump to conclusions. So how do we go from green to red that fast without allowing the yellow to slow? Take your time, analyze, observe. If you pay attention to something and a bump in the road, slow down. Make sure there's
Mhm.
understand what the bump was. You hit
Yeah.
a hiccup in life, bro. Don't be so quick to
Mhm.
throw in the towel and just say, "Oh, it's over with. I don't care."
Yeah.
No, like
Yep.
really, you sometimes it might piss you off sometimes because sometimes I'm not gonna lie, it can be a red flag. But if you're not willing to sit there and observe it, that's how we miss our blessings. That is how we miss our blessings because we so quick to jump to the conclusion. Oh, we really just throw bitch fits. I'm not gonna lie. We throw
Yeah.
we sit there, we don't like one little thing and it's like, oh no, this shit ain't wait,
Hmm.
to actually spend time with it and understand you and be able to be honest with yourself to say I always look at relationships in this manner. Now for me as a you know me as a creative, as an innovative individual who is constantly aiming to move forward, is this somebody who is aiming to move forward with me, or is this somebody who is trying to get me to sit still with them? And that's been my process. Is this somebody who is actually moving forward, or are they just sitting? And most people are sitting and looking for comfort.
Hmm.
They want companionship. Nothing wrong with being companionship, but I'm somebody
Absolutely not.
I've learned that companionship is for the moment. Every day I have to live with myself. And for so many people, we get in that comfortable space of having that companionship that we focus so much on the companionship that we lose sight of what our individual mission is.
Hmm.
And like you just said, that push constantly, you found the perfect partner when they tell you, okay, cool, you've been around me long enough, but and it's not these direct words, but it's that energetic, like, okay, go work on you a little bit. I'm
Yeah,
here.
that's exactly what I
I'm
said. I'm here. Yep. And I need us to work on each one. You work on you, I work on me. You know what's crazy? One of our arguments, right? And that's how you know somebody is really for you too.
yeah,
When they're willing, because he was so wrapped up around like, I have to get a job. He just moved down here,
yeah.
and he like, I have to get a job. I have to get a job. We have a household and da da da. And I'm like, a job? I hear you. But how about this? How about you focus on your craft? Like you are really, really amazing. Won't you do this?
It's
You know what I
how much you are helping me right now. Like you don't even
mean?
know it, but you are literally helping me right now. Just,
He got a job. I was mad as hell. Why you get a job? It's gonna take away from you doing your. Like
it's a different,
if they like people looking at me like, bitch, what's wrong with you? Like, nah,
it's there's
bro, he's
no
so much.
you've removed the gender role. You've removed that. It's I tell my people all the time, like, if that's the condition of your relationship, then enjoy that. But for so many people, like bro, I got a lot of people around me who are in that situation. But the thing is, like, I know relationships with a male, like when he's outside, he has to put that I gotta be the provider. And it's like, bro, like that's not we know.
it come it come natural. You don't have
You
to
don't
do it
have
like
to
that.
talk like
You know what I
that.
mean? Like
If
it,
you have
yeah,
understanding in your situation, that's your
yeah.
standing. And if you're
You know,
that, be happy with it, but own that. I tell everybody, anybody around me, even if it's for the moment, just own whatever it is that you are. And I will
yeah. 'Cause
for
he's so
respect
much bigger than a job. I couldn't see that for him.
is
Like I really couldn't see it for him. I'd rather you be out there creating. I'd rather you go out there, go to school. Let's still go to school. All right. I know you want some money in your pocket too, but instead of tying down to a 9 to 5 that's going to take away from all that, it's so many other ways to bring
that is
income. Not telling him what to do. It may sound like I was, maybe, you know what I mean? Like,
not
but
at all not at all to a man that knows his mission.
Mhm.
And when you know that mission, a lot of people are going to try to push those, and that it happens all the time, especially for us. I'll say this as black men, society pushes a narrative on us that is not
Yeah.
true. And part of
Mhm.
that is you have to work a job. You have
Right.
you
Yeah. No, you
you
don't.
don't.
You know what? I was sitting back watching documentary stuff. Because I don't know why Chance wanted to watch it on binge. Do you know the dad didn't work? No,
And
he was a house dad.
I tell
But
everybody, I know for a
however,
fact,
he was working on his craft. He was working on his gift, and his gift was cooking and creating recipes, but he didn't have the business yet, right? So he had cooked dinner for the family for them to taste, and the mom was the doctor, right? And she was the provider for our income, paying the bills, but he was very so much needed in the household, and still, still very so much needed. His presence was
Tell every I
absolute.
love the fact that now I've always been pushed to play that the material provider role. And the minute I sat
This
back,
is similar.
really understood, like I literally had to get to a point one day where I was like, bro, I don't give a fuck how nobody else feels. Like this is what I want to do. I want to focus on my music. I want to focus on my photography. I want to focus on my podcast. And
So, yeah,
I still get
yeah,
calls to this day. People like, bro, you still ain't working? Yeah, I work for
yeah,
myself.
exactly. So I'm gonna end it with this real quick,
Go
right?
ahead.
And it's gonna be facts, and it's gonna be some hard truths. And I was always told the truth may hurt, but the lie kill, right? The lies kill. I'm gonna be straight up factual with you. Majority of our black men have criminal records. So, let alone getting a job, but if you just so happen to get a job, the shit ain't paying shit. It's not gonna cover shit that we got going on. No food, no gas, no nothing. It's not gonna cover shit. So you wasting 10 hours sometimes out of your day, for the people that treat you like crap because they know your background, not give you what you're worth because of a rap sheet. So why not go for yourself? You get what I'm saying? So
You
I'm sorry,
you've
but
been hit.
I don't believe in
Oh,
selling
you've been
selling nothing. I don't believe in selling myself or and I don't believe in selling my kids. I don't believe that if they choose to do sports, they do sports. Carter does baseball because Carter wants to play baseball. But in order to continue to play in baseball, you gotta, XYZ. I homeschool them, so
yeah.
and swimming is just swimming. That's a life skill. But I'm not gonna push them into sports and make them go to the daggone to the slave block, because that's exactly what the fuck it looks like to me. And that's exactly what it looks
That's
like. Like they
it.
size them up. Nah, if you do that, it's because you want to do it. It's not because I'm pushing you to do so.
Because you have
However, that's not going to be your only out either. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and one thing that me and Gary was on is like, yo, he had kids earlier than me, older than young at a young age, but we do have younger children that we could still push for, and then we have grandchildren. So, well, he has grandchildren. We have grandchildren. So our mission was to build a legacy up so much that if our grandkids or our kids fill out an application, that's just because they chose to do so.
absolutely. I tell my
You know what I mean?
I'm never
Like,
I tell my daughter the only thing that she has to do is learn herself. I tell her right now, your mama you got to go to school, you got to get good grades. I tell her all the time, your daddy didn't have good grades. I didn't care about school, but if that's something that you find interesting, whether it be to go make friends or whatever, do it because you want to, but not because they tell you that you have to. You don't have to do that shit.
so I said I was going to end it, but I remember when we did have Carter in school, and Gary and I taught Carter like listen, you don't have to go to college. You see us in school, but at the same time, you see us learning something that we want to do. So it's not like school in a sense. Like my first degree, yeah, it wasn't for me. It was for my parents. It was for my mom, right? So, but my postgraduate degrees was for me, and it's for a specific. It was for a direct what I wanted to do or what I. But anyway, the counselor and the assistant principal wanted to speak to me and Gary because Carter came in one day and was like, "Yeah, I have to go to school to get a job." And we said, "No, you don't. What you want to do?" Carter's into videography as well. They do shows, like they want to start a YouTube channel and all that, or create games.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Oh, so you do that? That's what you learn. You don't. No, we don't go to school to get a job. That's not what we do."
right.
So he went back, you know, and told the, and they wanted to talk to us. Yeah, we'll talk to you. Sure will. We ain't gonna change nothing. That's how we feel. No, he doesn't need to go to school if he doesn't want
I
to.
push everybody towards homeschooling because it's a real life education. It's not based on a curriculum.
It's not. I do have to do it standardized, right? Because it's we you know well I have to get the no, it's not a curriculum, but I do have to teach them certain things
Yeah,
because of the state or whatever, or the federal law. However, Chance read at a fourth grade level, right? Chance is 5. Yeah, you can't put no word and try to spell it out in front of him. No, it's not gonna work. He'll be like,
I
"What?"
I just today I said everything that we've learned. Look, the post just popped up. I'm finna read it word for word. Everything you know is based on someone else's experience. Discover your own perspective and create your own vision.
Mhm.
And that literally, I've just been writing down as I go through the day. I have random thoughts that pop in my head. Some of them I've been instructed to keep to myself because they apply for me. Other
Mhm.
ones are literally like
Get
general
it.
topics.
Oh,
I literally, that's why I love my podcast. I love this platform.
I like this platform. Yeah, this is
It
dope.
it it allows me to everybody know in person. I'm not unless I know you. I'm not talking. I'm not talking.
Right.
I let my energy speak for me. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Whatever happens after that, it happens. But for me, I'm not going to talk. There's no reason to. But with the
Right.
podcast, it allows me to connect with people like you who have had an impact in my life. You
And that was
you've been knowing
thank
me
you.
since I was on parole. Like you met me when I was on parole,
Yeah.
and that was an uphill battle in itself, and that kind of pushed me to being where I am now with the podcast. Because as you said, create for yourself. I got tired of I got tired of being a disappointment for myself because I
Right.
aspiration because I have bigger goals and understanding that working a job is I could work a job and still be broke, bro. So if I'm gonna be
It's
broke, I'd rather be broke and be working on my own
yeah,
thing.
you could get income. If it's about money, you could get
Get
money
money.
without tying down to nobody. You know what I mean? Like
My biggest,
that's for
I
real.
don't mind working. I'm a hell of a worker, but the thing is, I no longer want to be a part of that system.
You don't have to sign no papers for nobody.
There's
You
no
know what I mean?
no
Like
reason for me to
it's
have to commit to taking time out of my life that God blessed me with to go.
right. I guess people be like benefits, but we have a whole marketplace and the shit be cheaper than what you pay out your
But
paycheck.
the thing
You know?
is, like, even with even with the things like food and health and benefits, like most of the things that if you take care of your body will naturally heal itself, no matter what it is.
The earth fills us. Everything we need is
Everything
in the
you
earth.
need
It's
naturally
everything in this
takes some
earth.
time for you the the perspective that I have is you either take some time to learn it for yourself or you're gonna trust what other people tell you. And if you're too lazy to learn something for yourself, then you've already lost.
Mhm.
You've already lost because it's nothing, especially nowadays with the age of technology that we in. There's nothing that you can't find.
Yeah, that's why they're trying to ban certain stuff,
Yeah,
so I can't find it.
that's a whole different
Um,
topic right there.
yeah.
We gonna
But listen,
I'm gonna say
this has
I want
been
you
great.
back. I want you back. Like I
Okay.
definitely want you back on here.
All
It's
right.
to a point where I'm willing to. We can swap out every other week if we need to, wherever it's.
Did you hear all them things I'm doing?
We gonna get it together. We
Yeah.
gonna talk.
Yeah.
We gonna
Yeah.
definitely. You let me know your schedule. You let me know when you're available. We definitely
Okay.
have you back and just catch up and everything like that. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your
I
presence.
appreciate you, and I appreciate learning about this because I'm kind of tired of everybody asking about when this As I Grow podcast coming
Let's
back.
go.
And
Next
so,
month you'll be the fourth episode in season two.
no,
So,
awesome, awesome.
after that, this summer I'm really gonna be on a solo tip for the summer because I want to incorporate more of Atlanta. I want to do my food reviews. I want to do my nightlife
Yeah.
scenes. I want to do those things for my podcast.
I remember you contemplating moving to Atlanta. I
Man,
remember that was a big thing. I'm like, yo, just go. Actually, I didn't just say just go. I said, you got to ask yourself, did you ask?
it was worth
And then-
it was worth
and that-
it
yeah.
because it took me out of and everybody knows I have an appreciation for the family that I was born to, but I just don't it. And
Okay.
being down there, I felt so stuck because I was being forced to dim my light and my natural essence in order to fulfill the expectations of external.
You talking about in Savannah though?
Yeah,
You know, Savannah. I'm kind of, which it's never too late. Savannah is very deeply rooted. I want you to really experience Savannah on a spiritual tip.
the one time I did, I walked around downtown Savannah at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was smoking, walking around, and the vibe was so different.
I love Savannah. I
I'm
do.
planning.
Can't stay there though.
I
Can't stay
I
there.
can't.
But
I, de- my goal is to start visiting Savannah at least once a
yeah,
year, just to
yeah. I need to go visit some family too.
yeah,
So,
like me having.
but
I don't mind going to. I can't live down there. Like I said, I feel trapped because not only do I have a lot of family down there, but my family is known for like my dad's a pastor, my cousins like they known for that side of life. So for me to
gotcha.
yeah, it's like
Okay.
I
It's all right.
came here,
Yeah,
got a little bit more freedom, and it does nothing. It doesn't hinder them at all.
gotcha.
Like with my
Okay.
dad being a pastor, I realized me being a rapper and everything else that I do, it wasn't the best image to be in that atmosphere with my dad being in the same atmosphere. And me,
That sounds like, who was that? Was it a DJ out there in Savannah? I think it was a DJ.
um, from
And I think his father owned like the cemetery, the
it
what you call it?
it's a lot when you dealing with that.
Yeah.
I had to fight for the longest. Like that was my biggest struggle for being up here. Like, do I do what my family is asking me to do? But am I really gonna be happy doing that?
Hmm.
And that's when I knew,
Where is that? Did I leave it in here?
that's what I basically
Hmm.
told myself. Like after you
Yeah.
sit down and like have that conversation with myself, go for you, bro.
Yeah. So I'm gonna leave you with something to someone. I said this already. I said leave you already. So my thing right now is identifying my needs
Mm-hmm.
and expectations, not based on anyone else. And I literally got that today. Um, and then do my brief my work, put in my work. So identifying your needs without including any of the needs, because you know what? Nah, I can't say that on air.
We gonna touch
I
base
tell you,
tomorrow.
yeah, yeah, I tell you, I can't say that on in air.
Well, go ahead and
But
let
yeah.
everybody know where they can find you, your pages and things.
Oh,
I got it,
so
and so it's gonna work.
I don't even know what's my handles. Okay, one of them is one of them is at the real TC underscore Instagram, and then coming soon is LeticiaJ.com. Coming soon. That's the blog site. I have so much on there. It's about how mental health and therapy and spirituality are all connected, right? I'm leaving y'all, blessing y'all with tools and everything. The book is coming out real soon. You can get the book there too. Locks of Love is on Amazon. Just put Locks in Love, Locks of Love, the Taylor Carter and Chance is there. It's doing amazing. Y'all gonna love that book. Y'all are gonna love it. Um,
I've been
As I Grow Productions, Instagram.
to let you.
As I Grow, Facebook. Miss As I Grow, uh, TikTok. And I think that's all I'm on.
I'm
Pretty much.
gonna make sure I put them in the description so
Okay, cool.
I
Cool.
make sure that that's there. So
Yeah.
again, I
Sure.
appreciate you so much. It's always a blessing. It's
Yes.
always good.
Thank you.
Always
Thank you. I
vibe, and I love you so much. I love
love you too. Peace and light. Just pray for me, pray for Gary. I pray for you for your protection. Keep it just keep us in your light. Keep us in the
always,
light. That's all.
always.
So
We have a word
yeah.
called tribe, and me and you,
Yes.
we
Yes. Very important. Maybe the next time we talk, we could speak about the importance of having, because people talk about some self-made. Nobody is really self-made. That means you lost. You really definitely need a support system, and maybe that'll be a topic. And I'm gonna bring facts.
look. I'm
Um,
taking notes.
okay.
That's the next.
All right.
We're gonna bring you back for
Yeah.
the episode. You let me know your schedule, and we definitely gonna come back and the
Okay.
tribe
Yeah.
connection, like exactly what it is and how you go about it. But again, thank you so much. You are
Absolutely. Please and blessings. Stay dangerous.
always.
All right.
Always.
All right.